Hello and welcome everyone. This is astrology forecast for full moon in Leo that happens on the 5th of February, and this could be the most intense event of February month, because we won't have many intensities, which is good news for February. So this full moon could be the highest peak of the month, and it's some kind of preparation for many intensities that are going to start developing and unfolding from in the March and in the next months after March. Because March, we will see, it brings a lot and it takes out a lot from us. And this full moon in Leo is time of revelation and celebration, and it's an opportunity to transform our emotions. And February, the whole month of February is like it's like a pit stop moment. We had intensities, we had so many intensities in previous months due to eclipses and retrogrades and Mars retrograde and Mercury retrograde and intense transits and aspects, and we will have in March big shifts and eclipse season starts again. So February is like a pit stop. So let's take advantage of this February whole month. We have time to really work with ourselves, to see clearly some things, to use everything that we have learned so far, and to really take 100% responsibility for our actions, our feelings, our emotions, our intentions, our urges, our wants and needs, to take 100% responsibility. And, we can see what is blocking us, what is preventing us from living freely. And we are asked what aligns with our soul, and we are given an opportunity to meet our unmet needs, and we are challenged to dare to love ourselves despite all fears. And the full moon energy is a time when the moon and the sun oppose each other. This is the event known as the full moon. So this is when the sun and the moon are opposing each other, so they are watching each other, they are looking at each other. And during this time, the full moon is in Leo and the sun is in Aquarius. So the Leo is complemented by its opposite sign, Aquarius. And Leo is the individual, while Aquarius is the collective. Leo is the member of a community, Aquarius is the community. Leo is the member of an orchestra, and Aquarius is the orchestra. And Leo is the melody, Aquarius is the symphony. And we will see these interesting polarities now. And this lunation highlights the tension between being ourselves and being our authentic selves and coming together with others in a group. And this is something that may give us a true insight into who we are, into the heart of the sun, of our inner sun. This is the core emotions of us. The Leo, the archetype of Leo is ruled. The sign Leo is ruled by the sun, and this affects our inner sun, our inner light. Leo is the fire sign, so it's about our inner fire, our inner light. And do we have the ability to turn on that inner light, to spark and ignite the flame within ourselves? And this is done when we are able to enjoy. This is the Leo archetype, the enjoyment, the pleasure of life, entertainment, having fun, laughing, uplifting emotions, having trust in ourselves. And this is, the understanding that we are each the star performers in our own lives. So Leo is the star, and The question is, are we looking for other stars in our movie, in our life, or are we aware that we are the stars? This again can be seen in different way, because if we are immersed in egocentric belief that it's all revolving around me, I am the only one I am the center of the stage, and it's everything is about me, there is a wrong perception, a twisted perception of this. And this is when we seek for attention. This is when we will do anything just to get the attention that we are seeking for. We will do anything just to get the recognition that we want to get. And this can be seen as suppressed voice of inner child, because Leo also rules the child within ourselves. This is the child within me who is creative, the child who is innocent, the child who wants things, the child who wants to express themselves. But when we suppress these things within ourselves, this inner child can become an inner beast, and this inner beast becomes the source of the power because of that suppression. And the Cancer archetype also deals with inner child as well as Leo, and Cancer and Leo are the most subjective signs in the zodiac, and we all have both of these within ourselves, both of these archetypes. And the Cancer is ruled by the moon, while Leo is ruled by the sun, and no other sign is ruled by the moon or the sun. So it's very important to understand the concept of that child within ourselves, and what's being suppressed and what's expressed because of this suppression. So the inner child is the same as the unconscious within ourselves. It's dark and scary, and it's all those raw, suppressed passion and emotions. And this is about the internal dialogue between our heart, which is Leo, and our mind, which represents the Aquarius. Remember the opposition. The sun is in Aquarius, the moon is in Leo. They are opposing each other. So this is the culmination of something. And something comes to its highest peak. This is something comes to a head, or something comes to a fruition. This is the moment of revelations. And we are acknowledging something. We are discovering something that's been hidden from us. This is the energy of the full moon. Each full moon there is some kind of revelation, some kind of culmination, some kind of an ending. Something is, we are finishing something. Something is completed during this time. And this is, we will see what it is for each of us. And this full moon is in a square aspect with Uranus, and Uranus is in Taurus. And this square aspect with Uranus can bring some sudden, shocking, unexpected changes, unexpected endings that may trigger that child within ourselves, that suppressed emotions and feelings. Something unexpected can happen that hurts our feelings, because Leo energy can be very dramatic. So this can be something shocking and dramatic that triggers our wounds, that triggers that need for attention. Me first, it's about me, our pride, our need for attention, the drama, celebration of who I am, royalty. This will be at the peak. So we can expect some attention seeking and loaded emotional moments. We may want to impress others, and we can expect some sudden triggers that we didn't know were there, or that we thought that are long gone. And we may be too proud to admit something, or our pride may be triggered a lot. Our pride may be provoked by somebody's comment, or by somebody's action, or somebody's reaction, or whatever. And the downside of Leo is the desire for constant attention and for maybe constant admiration and for applause, for praise, for being approved all the time, being approved, being seen, being recognized for what we are. Like, look at me, I am special. I am also, important. I can do things. Look what I know. Look what I do. Look what I can do. It's all about me. All eyes on me. And this is one manifestation of it, and we may see this in others, so we may be triggered by behavior of others. They can trigger something in us, people who behave in this way, or it may be us who behave in this way. And Leo can turn everything upside down. Leo part in us can turn everything upside down in our quest for attention and respect. And it's about we don't like personal criticism. It's we may feel like it's me against others, me, Leo, and others, Aquarius archetype. It's us and them, Leo, Aquarius, individual and collective. How can I as an individual get along with others in a group? It can be uncomfortable. It's all about making ourselves feel comfortable about who we truly are in our core being. And it's this Trinity part is awakened. The Trinity of Leo, it's the spark, the fire, and the eternal flame. Or it can be the ember, the fire, and the light, and the lion, the warrior, and the king as well. And this is, when we fail to integrate our Leo part in us, we project it as a shadow. And it's not easy to be ourselves in groups of people. It's not easy to be authentic within a group of people, because society has certain rules and norms, and our environment also has certain rules and norms. And the more we try to fit in, the more we forget about who we truly are, the more we forget our heart energy, and we forget ourselves as unique individuals. And when we receive attention from others, this can make us feel uncomfortable as well. And this is what triggers the wounds of Leo archetype in us. It's like, who am I to be seen? This is the other side. It's not so now it's not about look at me, I'm so special. It can be who am I to be seen? Why would I be so special? Who am I to be listened to? Why would anything that I have to say or do be important? This is the same problem. It's the same issue as the one I spoke about a couple of moments ago. The one where we want to be seen, where we want to be approved, where we have a strong need to be recognized for what we do. And then the other side is, I am not worthy enough. I cannot do this. Why would I be so important so that others listen to me? I have nothing to say. I don't know anything. And this causes those wants and needs, that we want to be seen, we want to express something from ourselves. And this is, inferiority and superiority complex. They are the same. So self-grandeur and inferiority complex, they are the same. They are two sides of the same coin. And we may feel ourselves flipping from one to the other side. We may feel ourselves on the superiority complex and inferiority complex, and we may switch sides, and we may see this in others also. Let's give our best to understand others in these shifts, instead of blaming others or saying, look at these people, how they are behaving, look at this, I cannot stand this, oh, look at this, so egocentric, oh, look at this inferiority complex or superiority complex. So let's try to understand this, and if we perceive this, if we notice this, if it triggers something within ourselves, we should know that this is something that we carry within ourselves as well, but we don't express it, we suppress it. So what we suppress, we see it in others as something that triggers us, something that gets on our nerves, something that makes us feel disharmonious, something that makes us feel disbalance within ourselves. So whatever it is that we suppress, we see it expressed in others as something that provokes us. Let's remember this. This is our hint. And this is, we will see this amplified need for recognition, enhanced need for recognition. And we may see many individuals, including ourselves, who are, all shiny, all glittery, fun and entertaining and popular on the surface, but very toxic underneath those layers. So we may see ourselves and others also, like in society, in groups of people, all golden and shiny, smiling, entertaining, all fun and games, but very, very dark within, very dark underneath. And this polarity, this can be very strongly felt during this time. But this is not something wrong or bad. This is something that gives us the keys, it gives us clues on how to work with these energies, where we are with ourselves, on which level we are with ourselves. And once we know what we want, nobody can take it away, because it's ours. We own it. Once we know who we are, once we trust ourselves fully, without need to be approved, to be recognized, to be applauded, to be praised, to be seen, to be accepted, but just having ourselves, trusting ourselves, this is when we own it and nobody can take it away. This is an internal flame that grows brighter and brighter, and we need this fire. And this fire is something that ignites our passion. We cannot live without this element of fire. It's very important. The fire relates with our spirit. That's why Leo archetype and fire energy is very much related to creative energy. We are the co-creators, so creation is very important. What are we creating in this world? What we see is what we create. We are creating something. So do we like what we see? Do we like what we project? And what do we create? We are being given a clear vision of what we are creating. And Aquarius Leo polarity always asks for us to explore the balance between our individual selves and our collective selves. And it is possible to hold space for the authentic me and the harmonious we. So it's important to have this authentic relationship with ourselves, so that we can have harmonious relationship with others. It is possible to manifest our passion in real and tangible ways. And we may see now, it's an opportunity also to see that our past is also a great teacher, that actually always somehow gives us the memory of who we are now, thanks to moments that were before. And we should see our past as a teacher instead of something that reminds us of our worst, or something that reminds us how everything was better before, which is an illusion, of course. We may now fall into these illusions like, oh, it was before better. If I could only return back in time now and fix some things, do some things different, or if I could only return back in time to enjoy that again, because I felt so much better back then. But this is all an illusion. Leo is the presence of the heart. Leo archetype is the presence of the heart, and it affects the collective as well. So this is about our personal and collective destiny. And this is creative, playful, and expressive energy. And it reminds us to listen to our heart and to follow the path of joy. And it's good time to truly contemplate on what sparks that joy in us and what doesn't spark the joy. What does the opposite of sparking the joy in us? And we are reminded that we are the masters of our destiny. And we have an ability now with the sun in Aquarius to observe ourselves from a more detached place, to look at ourselves objectively, so that we have a clear vision of who we are. And we can see ourselves when we fall into those old repetitive patterns that no longer serve our highest good. So we can get to the heart of the matter, and we are asked, do we know what is in our heart of hearts? What is there? What kind of intention lies in the heart of the hearts? And we are also reminded that every transit, every shift, every cycle that happens in nature, in our life, every single lunar phase, whether it's new moon or full moon or eclipse or retrogrades or who knows what, or Saturn's return or whatever it is, solar return, every aspect that happens, good or bad, malefic or benefic, magical or traumatic, is cathartic. It has a very special role for each of us. It is there for our evolution and growth. It's all serving its purpose. It has its purpose. It's not there to punish us. It's not there to avoid us. It's not there, to do something to us. It's there to help us on our path. It's something that has a very deep meaning. So this is something where we can release being a victim or a victimizer. I spoke many times in these previous videos about the victim archetype because it's really important now, and it will be important for many years to come. This archetype of the victim that we have all collectively absorbed, and we are living either in victim or in victimizer mode, or in both, just shifting from time to time. And we have to be free agents of life. We have to be free individuals instead of being just a sheep in the collective. And this is what is happening now. We have to be for something instead against something. So it's not we are many times we define ourselves by being against something, or by looking at what we don't like, or what provokes us, what triggers us. But let's focus a little bit on the things that we are for, that we like, that we enjoy, that we love doing, but without comparing. Because the moment we think about the things that we like, somehow we shift and we immediately see the things that we don't like it's a continuous battle. It's like, oh, I love this, but I don't like that. Or, oh, this gives me so much pleasure, but if this happens, it's not so pleasurable. So let's try to somehow remove these things, just as we would do on a surgery. Let's give ourselves an opportunity to go through a spiritual surgery and remove those things that block us on this path. We are available now to transform these emotions, to transform our perception of certain things. We don't have to see things always in the same way. If we have learned certain things in a certain way, there is a certain protocol to unlearn them as well. And whenever life is unpredictable and challenging, and when we are going through many ups and downs, when we are going through some wild roads, full of bumps on the road, this is when we have an opportunity to transform these emotions and to really step out of those victim and victimizer modes, because none of these modes of living are not for human being. They are there to give us certain material and content to work with, and then to leave it behind. It's not there to be with us for whole life. There is a moment, there is a time for everything. There is time for learning certain thing and then for applying what we have learned. And there is time for learning how to walk, and when we learn how to walk, we walk. We are not continuously learning how to walk, but when we learn to walk, we apply this and we walk. And this is what we have to apply now. And Leo archetype is very personal, and we may take things too personally during this time. And this square with Uranus can bring us those sudden awakenings too. And if we take things too personally, we may feel wounded or hurt in some way, but this can also be used in practical way for our personal awakening, for self-recognition, and to see how are we disconnected from ourselves. Because if we are disconnected from ourselves, there is no place, there is no link for connection. We cannot connect if we are disconnected from ourselves. And if we are immersed into self-criticism, into guilt and shame, our hearts won't open, our hearts are closed, and we will protect ourselves. And usually we protect ourselves by being emotionally numb. And this time we may see how emotionally numb we are. And we may see how self-critical we are, or how critical we are towards others. And how much guilt we project onto others, and how much guilt we absorb, how much shame we project, and how much shame we absorb. And we may see that we are trying to satisfy our need to get attention, to feel validated, or to feel safe. And this need may be hysterical even. This need may be very dramatic. It may be very neurotic need. And we may see this need in our collective world, but in our individual world as well. We are needy. We may see that we are needy and greedy at the same time. And if we see this in others, let's remind ourselves to be more humble. First with ourselves. Let's focus on ourselves. Let's not focus on what others are doing. Let's not be so obsessed by what others are doing in their life and how are they living their lives, or are they needy or greedy or egocentric, or how they treat us, or those stuff. Let's focus on how we treat ourselves. What are our needs? What are my needs and my wants? We have to set our own standards and find our own formula, not somebody else's formula, not somebody else's standards, no matter how those standards are good, no matter if they are perfect, those standards. Let's remove all the standards that are not our own. Let's try to build our own standards, from the scratch. Let's remove them all. And this is where Uranus can help us, this square with Uranus. Uranus is the awakener, the revolutionary. It can bring, earthquakes, inner earthquakes, shakeups, demolition of all the standards that we have. Demolition of who we are, so that we can see who we are at our core being. And it is important to understand that it is our birthright to feel joy in life. It is not something that we need to fight for. It is our birthright. It should happen effortlessly, but we have inherited so many layers and masks and defensive programs and patterns that we have forgotten how to effortlessly feel good as we used to when we were children. And this is why Leo archetype is related to children, because the archetype of children are not yet so much contaminated by the external world and worries and playing different roles in different groups of people, so that we become likable and lovable. And this is when we can just be. And this is when we express that child within ourselves, the creative spark, the enjoyment, the pleasure of life. And when we have so many layers and so many masks, we forget how to, enjoy life. We forget what it means to just to simply enjoy without putting any effort, to just be happy for no reason. And because when there is no reason to be happy, nothing can actually ruin that moment. But this is something that is happening now. It is something that we may see clearly, and inner happiness is always available. It's not something that is running away from us. It is actually something that is always knocking on our door, but we are closed. We are closed and we are not open to receive that. So we have to open our hearts, and we cannot open our hearts if we are living in fear, if we are living in blaming games, if we are living in shame and guilt, in victim or victimization, if we are constantly pointing our fingers at others or pointing our fingers at us. If we are living in these frequencies, we cannot open our heart, so we cannot receive this inner happiness that is constantly knocking on our heart door. And our job is to reveal this, to recognize and accept that this is really our birthright, and this is state of being at peace and feeling deep satisfaction with who we are. Leo represents our center. It is ruled by the sun, and this reminds us of what holds us together. It helps us feel our truth. It helps us hear ourselves, and it helps us feel our hearts, hear our hearts, listen to our heart, break through all the layers placed upon us that, blur our light, that dim our light. Let's break through all the fog and see that this fog was here just to create an illusion that we have to put so much effort into being happy or to enjoy. And the biggest problem is that we think that this happiness comes through external images. We externalize our happiness. We externalize our peace. We externalize deep satisfaction. We externalize all the things that actually come from the inside. And we are asked, what makes us shine our brightest? Let's embrace that part of us despite all the fear, despite all the rejections, despite everything that frightens us. Let's love ourselves fiercely, despite everything. And how can we do that? We don't know how to love ourselves. And of course, we don't know how to love others. It's an illusion that we love another person if we don't love ourselves, if we don't understand ourselves. We don't know where we come from, so we search for those answers outside of us. We are asking for others to complete us. We are looking for a romantic partner to complete us. It's impossible. Of course, they will always fail because that's not the idea. Nobody can complete us but ourselves, our own presence, our own inner king and queen of our inner kingdom, of our temples. And this Leo archetype and Aquarius archetype and this square with Uranus, this is embodying the energies of leadership and compassion and vulnerability and love and strength. And we are encouraged to focus on these things, to focus on the heart's truth, to focus on the heart of the sun, of the inner sun, to turn on that inner light. And it's not always easy to listen and follow our hearts. We have to acknowledge that it takes courage and vulnerability. We should be able to be vulnerable, not to be afraid to be vulnerable. And it is time to really listen to the heart and follow its lead, even if we are unsure of where it can take us. We should feel the guidance of the heart and let it give us the answers. And understanding, there is no need to prove ourselves or to try to get approval. The mature lion archetype learns that we simply have to know how to be comfortable with being who I am. Learning how to be comfortable with who I am is something that puts us into that sacred space, into that heart of the sun of who we are, into our core being. And there is no need to prove ourselves. We constantly think that we have to do something special. We have to be something special, something spectacular, something grandiose, something, that aligns us with celebrities, something where we are popular, something that is out of ordinary. But no, it's already out of ordinary. It's already extraordinary if we are living from the heart, if we are there where we should be, if we are unapologetically ourselves. This is, about the not apologizing for being who I am. I am not apologizing for being who I am. And, getting in touch with our creative juice, our inner inspiration, and our desire to make the contribution. This is joy. This is about spontaneous self-expression. It's about risk-taking. It's about passionate love. It's about the child within us. It's about creativity and the pleasure of being alive. It's everything that ignites that passion, that spark in us, everything that is uplifting. And this is this energy is here to really open our heart, but it can be uncomfortable. But let's allow ourselves to open our heart. Let's try, again, I said, let's try to go through this surgery, this spiritual and emotional and mental surgery where we remove those blaming games, those fearful games, and where we go beyond the search for attention and love. This is the higher expression of Leo. We go beyond the search for attention and love, where we truly open our hearts and we realize that we emanate the love, this love. We are the love that we are seeking. We are everything that we are seeking outside of us. It's already within ourselves. This is the secret of the alchemy. We are searching for something, and we go all over the world. We search in so many places. We go through many triumphs and trials and errors and failures and successes. But eventually, at the end of the whole journey, we realize that it's been all the time within ourselves, and we've been looking for it outside of ourselves. And this is the alchemical sentence called vitriol, and it's a Latin word, and each letter of the vitriol word has a meaning, and when it's translated, it says visit the interior of the earth, and by purifying yourself you will find the hidden stone. So, go down under, visit the interior of yourself, the interior of your being, the darkest places of your being. And by purifying yourself, you will find the hidden stone, the philosopher's stone, the heart of the sun, the gold. So the Leo, the light, the gold. This is the search for the gold. And the search for the light of the consciousness. And we are turning on this light. So let's dive deep into the interior of our being, and by purifying we will find that philosopher's stone. We will find the gold within ourselves. And do we use our fire to warm, to inspire, to enliven, or is fire consuming us through anger, through stress, through domination and pain? Is our fire if our fire energy is exhausted, if our fire energy is leaking, we feel unsatisfied, we feel depressed, we feel down. So these depressive cycles are very much related to fire in our bodies, and how do we use our fire, how do we use our creative selves, how do we use our creative instincts. Are we being creative at all, or are we just copying somebody else's creative energy? This is something that is related to the energy of Aquarius that I spoke about in previous video, about ourselves copying others or ourselves being original and authentic selves. And if we continuously direct our fire energy outside ourselves and use it to be entertained, to get attention, we will eventually feel exhausted. We will lose this fire, and we will constantly come and ask for more. So we will then need to receive the fire from others. We will then search for the warmth of others. When we lose our own fire, when we give it outside of ourselves, when we continuously direct it externally, we will then have a need to search for that fire and warmth from the others. And this is what we often do. We search for others to complete us, to give us some comfort, to feel some easiness. But then what do? We say, okay, I give away my own fire because I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how to handle this fire. And we have to learn how to direct this fire inward, how to turn it inward, how to use it as our guidance through our interior earth, to turn on this light, to use that fire to walk through the interior of our earth, to find the gold, to find the inner stone, and to use it to light the flame of our own heart. And our internal heart, when our internal heart energy is lit, when the light is on, we are definitely centered. Then we are not able to go into those ups and downs so much. We are able to stand and to observe the ups and downs, to observe them without being identified with those ups and downs. You know, when we become centered, when we find that inner stone, or at least part of it, when we at least to some degree reach self-awareness and self-recognition, then we are not complete, we are not removing ups and downs from life, we are not removing the bad things from happening into our life, but we change the perception. We have a different perception of life, and we have stability to stand without going down or up each time ups and downs happen in our life, but we are able to observe them. We are able to become observers and not to be absorbed and consumed by those ups and downs, but to stand and observe them and see them as something, as a part of life, as part of cycles. So the problem is when we identify ourselves with those different cycles of life, with those ups and downs, with our different emotions, with our exalted emotions and feelings, and with our downfalls. We identify with these things and we think, oh, I am now exalted, oh, I am now down, oh, I am up again, oh, I am down again. But this is something that is happening continuously. We will never get out of the game. So the point is to become conscious witness of events of life, to become the observer. So the questions are also important now to ask ourselves, do we think that we deserve to be happy, and why do we think that we don't deserve, and why do we think that we do deserve? What are paragraphs that tell us that we deserve something or that we don't deserve something? And do we honor ourselves enough? How much do we truly appreciate who we are? How much time do we spend on doing things that we have to do, and doing things that we want to do? And are these things aligned? Things that I have to do and things that I really want to do? And how can I change this? How can I do more of what I want to do in life? And we have to understand that fire sustains us. And we may be attached to thinking that we can have some negative feelings towards pleasures and passions of life, because we have been taught that if we are focused on ourselves, on our own good, on living good life, we are being selfish. So we have a twisted perception of how to please others and how to please ourselves. So we fail ourselves all the time, and by failing ourselves, we fail with others as well. And we betray ourselves. By betraying ourselves, we betray others as well. But we can get out of this stuck moment. We can get ourselves unstuck, and we can find what is missing. We can realize this, and because I said we have been programmed really to believe that happiness is something that comes from the outside, and we should ask ourselves, what makes me happy? What makes me happy? And then let's see if there are more things that are external than internal things that make me happy. And what does this tell me about myself, about my programs, about my ways of living and being and thinking? And when we externalize happiness, we lose this connection with our heart energy. We lose connection with our inner sun, and we don't listen to ourselves. Then we listen to others. Then we have a need to listen to others. Then we have a need to ask for guidance from others all the time. I'm not saying it's not good to ask for advices and guidances from others, but it's not something that should become an addiction. But we are addicted to constantly seek for help from others, to constantly seek advices and wisdom from others. We are searching for those gurus, for shamans, for psychologists, for astrologers, for doctors, for assistants, for prophets, for all kinds of people who can give us guidance on how to live, how to improve life. Nutritionists, coaches, personal life coaches, trainers, whatever, whoever is that individual that we are looking for to constantly give us instruction on how to live life or how to be happy. This is something that comes from within. Nobody else can tell us how to live happily. This is a state of being, and when we are authentic in who we are, this is when we can recognize what is superficial happiness. This superficial happiness that we are tricked to believe will give us answers. This is temporary. This is not something that has power to remain in us as eternal flame. Let's take some time to simply be with ourselves. Take ourselves on a date. Take ourselves on a date and see what would we do with ourselves. How would we entertain ourselves? Where would we go? What would we do if we don't have to compromise all the time? How would we live at least one day of our life if we didn't have to compromise with anything or anyone, with any belief, any program, any pattern, with any person, any partner, with our parents, with our friends, or whoever? Let's see how would we spend one day if we didn't have to compromise, if we could just be our authentic selves. And when we don't listen to ourselves, we ignore our own truth, and this is how we lose trust with ourselves. And we cannot say, I trust myself, because we don't trust if we trusted ourselves, we would never go and ask for others to tell us how to live our life and how to find the happiness, how to achieve happiness, how to achieve peace. This is something that comes from our inner space. And this is the time when we may see what shuts us down, what shuts down my heart, and what awakens, what reanimates my heart. And this is we are going to see what makes us glow from the inside. This is about inner glow and growth, and we have to listen and follow to that authentic voice within ourselves. And the main thing is that you have to be you. You cannot be somebody else. And there is also a great quote from Oscar Wilde, be yourself, everyone else is taken. And this is really true. So let's practice this. Let's remind ourselves that everyone else is taken. We have to be ourselves. Nobody else can be ourselves but us. And nobody else knows what is best for us but ourselves. Nobody else knows how to make this happiness and inner state of being but us. And we have to learn how to be comfortable with ourselves, with who we are. It is our inner connection, our inner link that allows our passion to be renewed. So let's face the unknown and accept our vulnerability. Let's be willing to experiment, to try things that we resist, to take some risks. Leo archetype, let's take some risks. Let's do things that are that we don't usually do. Let's do some things that we enjoyed doing when we were kids, when we didn't have really some special reason to enjoy it. Let's do things that don't satisfy others. So let's not ask ourselves, if we are going to do something that makes us feel good, is this going to hurt someone? Of course, we won't do something that hurts others, that harms others, but those thoughts like, if I enjoy right now, and if somebody needs me to be with them, if somebody is going through something bad, and I need some time for myself to enjoy myself, let's not feel guilty for doing this, because this is the only way we can help this person to rise above and to really face things that they are going through authentically, through being themselves, and not through looking for, again, fire from others, in this case us, or if we are in the position of this person who is searching for comfort from others, let's try to authentically face ourselves, to take full responsibility without feeling guilty for doing it. And it's not, I always mention this and I will mention it again, we cannot help others by being down. We can only help others if we are strong, if we carry inner strength, if we carry our authenticity. This is when we can inspire others and we can awaken that energy of the inner sun and the core heart connection in others. So if someone is going through something, if someone is suffering, we usually think that we will help them if we go there and we cry together with that person, for example. But if we cry together, we help each other to get down. So if one person there is strong and authentic, then the person next can also become authentic in their pain, authentic in whatever we are going through. It's not about removing the pain, it's about being authentic in pain. It's about accepting whatever is happening and observing without being identified with ups and downs. And our success in life, this inner happiness in life depends upon how deeply we love ourselves. Do we love ourselves? So we cannot help others if we are going in the same frequency with them. If they are down and we think we have to be down as well in order to help them, that's not the way, because then we will both get down. So it's important to be authentic selves in whatever is happening. The more we are absorbed in the joy of self, the less centered we actually become. And this may sound like a paradox, but this is truly like that. when we are able to enjoy ourselves, when we are able to be authentic in what we are going through, the less self-centered and egocentric we become, because we simply then enjoy our life, and we don't have a need to blame others, we don't have a need to point fingers, we don't have a need to take the fire from others, we don't have a need to give our fire to others, but we only exist authentically, and by living in authenticity, we inspire others to do the same without giving or taking, but just by being, we are immediately giving, because we are radiating, we are emanating that energy of authenticity. And just by living, we are giving in that way. And too much thinking or too much analysis or judgment or worry or too much irrational fear, too much, we are living in a mentality of worry, constant worry. We are worried all the time about something. The moment we open our eyes, we are worried about something. And even when we are asleep, we are worried. That's why we have, disturbing dreams, perhaps, because we are always worried. We are always worried about something, and because we are disconnected from that heart energy. And this takes away our awareness. This takes away our connectedness with ourselves. And this takes away our basic birthright to be happy. So we have to remember that this is our birthright. And when we know this, that this is our birthright, we may be motivated more to become that light and love that we are searching for, to use our own power to turn on that light, to have that flame, to use that fire to purge all the negative mental addictions and emotional addictions and physical addictions. This fire has the power to purge and detox ourselves from these low states of being. And the creative self, awakening the creative self. The topic here is about me, but not the egocentric me, but authentic me. The difference is the egocentric me wants to dominate others, wants to be approved, wants to be seen, wants to be respected at all costs, wants to get attention no matter what. And authentic me has none of those needs at all. Non needs are presented. Authentic me just enjoys being who I am, and enjoys looking at how I create the external world, because I know that what I create outside of me is the projection of my inner world. So I am entertained, I am enjoying, I am playing this game of creating life and looking how my inner state shifts and changes the world that I am creating outside of myself. So I am enjoying. So this is the difference between authentic self and egocentric self. And without proper instruction about how to care for and honor our individuality, we get lost in giving away our power to feel important. We are always trying to be important or to engage. We sometimes even engage in narcissistic behavior, and we meet with narcissistic people as well. But these people are not to be blamed. These people also need some kind of understanding and support, and not just to be blamed for their behavior and just to be seen as narcissistic. This is something that we all carry within ourselves. It's our collective wound as well. So we have to examine who I am on a deeper level. Examine who I am. What about myself, who creates my own reality? the me that takes responsibility for everything that I do and for the consequences that happen. But there is a tendency in our mechanical selves, when we are lazy, when we are unempowered, unmotivated, with the lack of fire, lack of flame, lack of light, lack of consciousness, then we have a tendency to be the victim and to see victims all around us and to blame someone else and to blame circumstances, to blame whatever, to blame everything. It's so much easier to blame than to take responsibility. But when I say let's not blame anyone that's outside of us, it doesn't mean that we should blame ourselves. Blaming ourselves is not the same as taking full responsibility for what we see and what we experience and what triggers us and what provokes us, what we experience and what we are going through. This is not the same. So taking responsibility is being authentic. It's our path towards that inner happiness. It's our road to finding that inner stone that I mentioned, that alchemical formula. It's an alchemical formula. Visit the interior of the world, of the earth, of our own selves. Visit the interior of our being, and by purifying, we will find that inner stone. That's the meaning. So, there is an urge to roar like a lion, and to awaken, to wake up to the fact that victim trips don't do anything good to us. These things and blaming games don't do anything good to us or to anyone else. This is another proof that without our authentic relationship with ourselves, we create dysfunctional relationships with everyone else. And being honest with ourselves, standing up for ourselves, thinking for ourselves, making our own choices, owning ourselves, following our own heart, listening to ourselves. These are the recipes for living an authentic life. And really, the lion takes us on an inward journey, and it takes us to the heart of the sun, to the heart of the soul, to the core of our being. And this is the self-knowledge, the self-love, the self-awareness, self-recognition, everything about the self, the lion, but the higher expression, authentic self-knowledge, not egocentric, not where we have the need to be approved, to be praised, to be applauded, but the need to be authentic selves and to inspire others, to motivate others to do the same. This relationship between me and me, this should be the priority, and we should nurture this relationship. And we learn how to distinguish superficial fun from authentic fun. This superficial fun is there as a temporary cure for our pain, but this is not something that solves the problem. We have to be fully honest with ourselves, fully responsible, so that we can identify those temporary tricks, temporary illusions, where we, have fun just for the sake of having fun, just for the sake of forgetting something that we want to forget, something that we want to avoid, something that we don't want to face. And this is how we are, pushed into this interior of our own selves, so we find deeper levels of pleasure, deeper levels of enjoyment of who we are, the enjoyment of living our own world. I create my own reality. And when we are in this victim mode, we focus on the effect and we ignore the cause. This is the same as we see in modern medicine, where we are curing the symptom and not the cause. So when we are in this victim mode, we are treating the effects and symptoms. We are not seeing the cause. We are not seeing the roots. And without the roots, we cannot grow. And this is how we recreate the same patterns. This is how we create the same things again and again. So we end up thinking that pain and struggle and suffering and getting stuck in certain situations, blaming, judging, being criticized or criticizing is something that is necessary. It's something that is major part of life, and happiness is just like small flashes, small little flashes that just happen and go, but the rest of life is just hard work, putting so much effort, working hard, trying so much to gain that little sense of happiness. And that's why we have so many addictions in the world. That's why we are addicted to so many things, because we have a false belief that life is so much about the pain and suffering, and it's all about achieving those small flashes of happiness. But this is the belief that has been imposed onto us. This is belief that tells us that we are not good enough, and this is how we are disconnected from ourselves. And now it's really time to remember the power of our individual selves. And there is great quote from Buddha that aligns with this energy, and it says, your work is to discover your world, and then with all your heart give yourself to it. This is Leo and Aquarius. Discover your world, Leo, and with all your heart, Leo, give it yourself to it. This is Aquarius. Give yourself to the world. So, this is very good to remember, and we have to obtain the empire of ourselves. And I truly hope that this full moon can inspire and trigger that spark within ourselves to be our authentic selves, to live our authentic lives, to be the kings and queens of our own kingdoms, and to shine our light, to turn on this light, and not to be afraid of the darkness, because we are, remember, the conscious witnesses, the observers, who don't get identified with ups and downs of life, but we are observing them, and we stay centered in the calm of in the storm. We are calm in the middle of the storm. We are really able to do this. This is our birthright. So I hope these words can help us all to go through this energy and to be inspired to work on this sacred connection with who we are, so that we can share the light and the kingdom of ourselves with the world. I love you all, and I will see you in 2 weeks to discuss the energies of the new moon. See you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.